Hey everybody, happiness is a three-dimensional skill. More than a feeling, it is a full-bodied flourishing with how we are, the choices that we make, and our subjective experience of who we are and the choices that we make. Happiness is experiential, happiness is ethical, and happiness is existential. Each of these, I'm going to argue, is a kind of skill. So how we experience ourselves is a skill we can practice every day. How we become who we're becoming is a skill we can practice every day. And how we make sense and how we experience and relate to the existential domain of our existence, which is that we will die and that we are free and we're making decisions big and large all the time. Those are the three dimensions of happiness. All right, let's look. The top 5 books of happiness. Number 1 is Martin Seligman's Flourish, a visionary new understanding of happiness and well-being. This was the easiest one to choose because Seligman is the grandpappy of applied positive psychology. He teaches at UPenn and this Masters of Applied Positive Psychology. Positive psychology here is looking at the upper reaches of human experience. So psychologists should not only study how to remedy those deficiencies in our psychology, but also what happens when what goes right in psychology. Seligman gives us this PERMA acronym, PERMA, PERMA. The P as positive emotions, the E as engagement, the R as relationships, the M as meaning, and the A as accomplishments. And those track really well onto the 3 dimensions of happiness. I want to say this was like 2001. 2011. So it's actually 2011. Okay, secondly, this is another fun and I think funny book. This is Daniel Gilbert. I think he's at Harvard. Yeah, Harvard professor of psychology. This really highlights the optical illusion of happiness. Just like an optical illusion where we think we see something, but we actually don't. It's just a trick of our perception. That's also what happens when we go after happiness. It's not just that it's a mirage. It's that we have a terrible sense of what's actually going to make us happy. And so he disabuses us of the idea that happiness is something we're going to get out there and supports this idea that one of our greatest powers as a species is our proception, our ability to see into the future and imagine all these different scenarios. That's also one of the biggest challenges of our species, is that we can see into the future and imagine all these different scenarios, right? So just like the title suggests, there's more of an accidental nature to happiness that isn't this deliberate seeking for this happiness thing. That also raises the nice paradox that happiness is something that we find when we don't look for it explicitly, when we instead pay attention and appreciate how our psychology works. Third one, this is where I'm going to get, maybe my personal take on this. It's Stuart Brown's play. Stuart Brown was a sociologist, anthropologist, medical doctor, psychiatrist, and clinical researcher. Clearly, I have no idea what I'm talking about. And the founder of the National Institute for Play. What's interesting about Mr. Stuart Brown, medical doctor, is that he took the play personalities of a ton of different people. And he identified these 8 different personality types of how different people play. I'm going to suggest that the experience and the ethical domain and the existential domain are tied up with play, of doing things for their own sake, of finding a game to play that we want to play and that we want to keep on playing, of reframing and structuring our experience for it to be more playful, of engaging with others and ourselves in a more primal, playful way that connects to what's different about you and what's different about me. There's a kind of pluralism and play that touches on all the dimensions of happiness. It's recommended. It's a good one. Okay, next, it wouldn't be complete if we didn't check in with some Buddhist wisdom. Buddhists have cornered the market, as it were, on contemplative practice, or at least the systems of cultivating the qualities that make us happy. It's the sense that we can practice being happier by eliminating or at least reducing the arising of the violence that we do to ourselves when we're not kind and compassionate and joyful. Sylvia Boorstein's like a nice grandma here. So it's like reading wisdom from a grandmother about her path of just being a little less neurotic, which is a nice, I don't know, man, a nice goal. Okay. Lastly, the fifth book on happiness, this time from Scott Barry Kaufman, Transcend: The New Science of Self-Actualization. A presentation of Abraham Maslow, another picture of what it looks like to flourish as a human being from contemporary psychology. Scott Barry Kaufman highlights what Maslow didn't get a chance to publish in his lifetime, but where he was at the end of his lifetime was thinking about our capacities for transcendence. So if you imagine that hierarchy of rhetorical, not the hierarchy of rhetorical concerns. Come on, man. What am I talking about? If you imagine that triangle of human needs, so the hierarchy of needs, where you have security needs, safety needs at the bottom, and then self-expression, kind of love needs at the top, he imagines that in a picture of how we transcend and transform ourselves in light of that transcendence. So this book is really good to build the kind of character and to build the kind of life that provides us the platform that we can have these peak experiences and sustain those peak experiences in a kind of game B way or an infinite game way, where we are no longer just caught up in running a rat race. Although I don't, nothing against rats, actually pretty smart creatures. I don't know if we could call anyway, that's a side note we don't want to go on. This is a great book to consider the higher reaches of human potential and human possibility. So there you have it, the 5 books that I would suggest to practice happiness as a skill. There's one other thing that I would say is that happiness is a team sport. It's really nice to remember the basic humanity of getting together and listening and sharing and loving kindness and sympathetic joy, practicing these qualities of our experience, make it easier to be happy. If there's any of these books that spoke to you, let me know. And if I missed a book, there's a lot of books I did not include here. Maybe some Epicureanism I would have liked to get into. May you be happy. I hope you enjoyed this. Thanks. I should say one other thing. The book I did not choose is a book like this, written journal. This is how we might practice with the blank pages in it, what we put in our books. It's the book we didn't mention.